them making a title run, getting into the playoffs. They need a lot of things to happen, and I think it starts with beating Mercyhurst and then finishing it out. If they lose to Mercyhurst, I mean, you can kind of stick a fork in them, as some people may have already done it. They may, they really need to get that win against Mercyhurst.
I think another big key is this Mercyhurst game is not going to be at home. It's going to be on the road, and it's never good when you can't control your entire destiny. That they need Cal to lose again to help them out. And as I said last week, I still believe their playoff chances are kaput.
Yeah, I think that they definitely are in trouble here, and a lot of things should happen. They have to win these last 3 games for any chance to make the playoffs. And if they beat Mercyhurst, they'll be tied with Mercyhurst with the conference record. They still would need Cal to lose again, though. And then Gannon's a strong team also. Gannon only has 2 losses in PSAC competition. They have the same record that Slippery Rock does. So even if they beat Mercyhurst, that'll be I think they'll be raised up so high after getting that victory, they might overlook Gannon a little bit and not be 100% prepared for that game, and then they could end up losing to Gannon.
As you say, preparation is definitely going to be big for them. They're going to have to mentally, strap down and really be ready to, take their season and put it in their own hands. Because really, that's, it kind of plays off of what happens, in the PSAC. If Cal falls, that would be big for them if they were able to beat Mercyhurst. But right now, their chances of getting in the playoffs really depends on them and how they play these final 3 games.
They just got to pound the rock. The Mercyhurst beating Cal was an early Christmas gift for this team.
One more thing I want to say. I hope Bill lost points last round.
Why?
Just because. He's leading. I hope he lost some points. Should have some deductions at the end there. He started to come up with that comment, and then he just cut it off.
No mute button on this show.
So we've made it through 6 topics on our show, and here are the scores. I'm sorry, but Bill is still in the lead. He has 24. Zach, you have 22, and Tim, you only have 21. Sorry. So now let's get to our final 3 topics of the night. Over the weekend, the Texas Rangers and the San Francisco Giants won the AL and NL pennants and will now face each other in the World Series. Who do you think is going to win it all this year? Tim, who are you taking to the World Series?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I'm not a huge baseball fan. I'm a Red Sox fan. That's usually who I follow. I follow baseball occasionally. I have caught some playoffs games, but last time I checked 2 years ago, San Francisco and Texas were 2 of the worst teams in all of baseball. So first of all, I want to give a congratulations to both of those teams for being able to do what the Pirates have failed to do for many years, which is go over 500 and make something out of their team. But I did watch San Francisco defeat Philadelphia in Game 6, and I thought it was amazing. I thought they're a very solid team. They don't make the little mistakes, and when you look at it side by side, the Texas Rangers, player for player, probably stack up better than San Francisco does. But when you look at the whole unified team effort, San Francisco, I got to take them just because how well and how unified they play as a team.
Sadly, I'm a Pirates fan. I hate to say it, but I said it. To get back to the World Series talk, I feel that the Rangers and Giants are even. The pitching staffs are headed by Cliff Lee and Tim Lincecum. They're both great pitchers. The series is really going to come down to the small plays in the field. Who's willing to dive for a fly. The little stuff. Pickoffs. All that's going to factor in. But ultimately, I take the Rangers in 6, led by Cliff Lee and Josh Hamilton.
With the Giants having Jeb Stewart as their closer, I would love to pick them. I've grown tired of hearing about how great the Phillies are and how I'm from Pennsylvania. I need to root for the Phillies now. I've never seen the Pirates win. I was 4 years old when Sid Bream slid. I'm not switching allegiances now. It's been too long, but I think the Rangers are the perfect story. They've got Josh Hamilton, who's you couldn't write a better book. He's a recovering drug addict. His arms are covered in tattoos because of it. When they celebrate, they douse him in ginger ale. They don't have alcohol in there. Nolan Ryan won ownership in a long legal battle. He's this close to bringing the first World Series title to the state of Texas. I don't think the Astros haven't won either. They went to their first one in 05. Key stat. Texas on the road has not lost so far in the playoffs.
just to add to your point about both teams being the worst, having the worst records. That's the funny thing about baseball is tides can turn, and it's really about they play 162 games. It's a grinding. It's a long year. It's just really interesting that you brought up that point that they were able to. That's what no salary cap really does for you. Is really switch things up. But as you say about Hamilton, that's a feel-good story. Everyone, I think everyone's really rooting for the Rangers, subliminally, I think, just to, it's storybook. They may be able to make a movie about that or something. You never know. So I'm hoping the Rangers in 6, so we'll see what happens.
I'm just hoping if they do make a movie, it's better than the ones that they made about the Red Sox. All right.
Cliff Lee, I think, 7-0 in his career in the postseason, and Elvis Andrews, the rookie shortstop, I think, has almost 20 hits so far.
Well, a key matchup is going to be that game 1, as I said earlier.
Definitely.
Cliff Lee, Tim Lincecum, and it's over 50%. If you win the first game, you're more than likely going to take the series. So I have Cliff Lee getting the win for the Rangers and taking the series in 6.
One thing about the series, though, that I want to say that I've seen is that with the Giants, you kind of throw stats out the window with how they play. It seems like every game they're in this like one-run game at the end. It seems like almost every game they play, it's coming right down to the wire where anything can happen. And it seems like with a team like that, you really can't look at the stats because they always play hard. They play to their competition. And playing a team against like the Rangers, they're going to be coming out as strong as they possibly can. It's the World Series, so they're going to be doing everything they can to win this game. And yes, it is a feel-good story, amazing story for Josh Hamilton and the Rangers. And I feel like the Giants are going to prove that they're the better team and win this thing in 6.
Just a Debbie Downer, I think. I personally think you just don't want to see the story happen.
Beware of the closer Jeb Stewart and his shoe-polished beard.
Serious stuff.
All right, everyone still has a chance to get some points and win this thing. Bill, you have 29. Zach, you have 27. And Tim, you still are in the lead, last with 26. You're still last. So why don't you take this next topic? Here's the question for you. As the NBA season is about to get underway this week, who do you think, who's your pro season pick to be the champion?
All right. I'm going to sound really cliche right here. I'm going to pick the Miami Heat. And I know last show Zach commented about how they're not deep at all, but they are deep. It's more than just the big 3. I'm actually not even going to talk about the big 3 at all. I'm not going to talk about Wade, not going to talk about Bosh or LeBron. Let's look deeper at their roster. Big Z, Zydrunas Ilgauskas. He's a solid player. He's a solid defensive player. He can shoot from pretty much anywhere on the floor. And he's solid on the team. He's there. They have guys like Joel Anthony, Eddie House, Udonis Haslem, and Mike Miller. Mike Miller's out right now, but they're still a solid team that can go 8 or 9 deep, and it's an 82-game season, so things are going to come up where there's going to be injuries. There's going to be time that guys need rest, and they can go 8 or 9 deep, and they have guys that fill roles. Everybody on the floor, Mike Miller's a great three-point shooter, and Mario Chalmers, who I didn't even mention yet, he's really perfectly set up to play with these 3 guys, because he's just starting to develop into the player that he is, and it's going to be his 3rd year in the league. I think this is a perfect time for him to play with 3 of the best players in the league, and he can really grow into his own player. And they have 4 superstars out on that floor every night.
I don't know what to say to that, honestly. Really, they only Joel Anthony. I have no idea who that is, honestly. Seriously, no idea who Joel Anthony is. Udonis Haslem, he's been with the Heat. I know him, but other than that, I have no idea who those other players are that you named. So we'll get on to my point. I'm going to have to, my bias says go with the Orlando Magic because I'm a Magic fan. I love Dwight Howard and J.J. Redick. Love those guys completely. But I'm going to have to say the Lakers. Seriously, they add Matt Barnes. Played for the Magic last year. A great defender, along with Ron Artest. Derek Fisher, veteran point guard, as you were saying about Chalmers. He did hit some big shots at Kansas. So if they can maybe remotely get close with the, 3 players and, the 7 dwarves or whoever else they have, that would be, that would be great to have him. He's hit some big shots at Kansas. But the Lakers, the addition of Matt Barnes, Bynum's out right now, Paul Gasol, all those guys, they're so long, lengthy. Lamar Odom, all these guys. The average height for them is probably, I'm going to guess, around like 6'5". It's just length, and they're winners. They win together. It's like a family out there in LA, really.
I think this topic's kind of irrelevant because I'm one that's for years has believed that the NBA is more like a circus than an actual sport league. But I'll start my response off with a story. In March of 2003, my dad got tickets to the NCAA regionals in Minneapolis, and of course to see the matchup of Pitt and Marquette, and he watched a certain player ruin his entire weekend, and that was Dwayne Wade. My dad has a shirt he got from that trip. Hasn't worn it since because he's got that loss still in his mind. We're looking at. Obviously, I'm going with the Heat as your preseason favorites. You're looking at a team. We've only seen this once every 10 to 15 years. You have three. I think we could agree that those three guys, they're going to definitely be. All of them are going to be considered for the Hall of Fame, and once it's all said and done with their careers. In terms of depth and health, you can't predict, hey, these guys are going to get hurt. I think those three is all the depth they need, because if LeBron wants to take a few minutes for a breather, they're still going to have Bosh and D-Wade out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Vice versa.
Yeah, I think that they have enough of surrounding the big three. Like I named, Udonis Haslem, Eddie House.
Who?
Exactly. You just have to go on NBA.com or something after the show and look this up more. We don't have enough. I don't have time. I would explain it to you now, but they have enough players around them who have played with other teams and have been with the Heat or been in Cleveland like Big Z was, and they can come in here and they can do their job and they can fill in and just help out enough. Because these guys, I'm sure the three of them, they're probably going to put up like 60 points a game by themselves. You just need a couple other guys on the floor putting in another 20, 30 points and getting the job done, and they're going to have a solid year. I'm not going to go out like some people and say they're going to win 77 games, but they're going to make the playoffs. And when you get in the playoffs, if all three of them are healthy and they got a good unified chemistry of the team, they're going to be able to win this whole thing.
Dwayne Wade knows how to win.
Yeah, I agree.
As much as Kobe does.
I respect Dwayne Wade. He's actually my favorite NBA player. But to go along with everything everyone's been saying, Bosh is soft. We can all agree. I think we can all agree that Dwight Howard's gonna, manhandle him. Bosh is soft. Let's admit that he is. He's soft inside. There's, he can score. He gets in there for rebounds occasionally. Landing his hands here and there. But as far as him being a factor for this team, I think that. Those guys are going to play second fiddle to Dwayne Wade if he gets over, his child support issues or whatever, So, also, look for the Cavs to surprise in the East. They're down, but I don't think they're out, to be honest. I mean, they're not going to, make a serious, legitimate title run, but they're down, but they aren't out.
I think one team we're overlooking in the East a little bit is the Celtics. The past few years, they've been able to come up every year, so I think they could be a threat, but still. The Miami Heat, that's just my pick. And I think we got a Miami Heat hater right here sitting next to me.
Listen, I'm a Dwayne Wade fan. I'm a Dwayne Wade fan, and again, the Celtics. That's everyone's overlooking the Celtics. To back up my point a bit further, I'd like to say that the Lakers are proven winners. Kobe's a winner. They know how to win. These guys are great individual talents. Great. We all agree, Hall of Famers. But as far as winning, they have one title amongst three men. And how long have these guys been in the league? They were all drafted in 2003. And they only have one title between them. Kobe has six. No, wait, 6, 5, 6.
He has 2 since they've been drafted.
Yeah, he has 2
he has
since they've
5
been in
his career.
But he's a much more experienced player. And he had Shaq with him for a while. Yeah, and he had a whole team. They had a solid team. They had players that were almost the equivalent of what's going on in Miami right now.
Well, maybe I was confused on what you were saying. Speaking of Shaq, Dwayne Wade has had help before with him.
He did have
and
Shaq.
they won.
So did
when
LeBron.
He brought Shaq. He's got help again.
So did LeBron.
Well, maybe LeBron is the one.
I think LeBron's really good. I'm not really biased toward LeBron. I'm either way toward LeBron. It's great, #1 draft pick out of high school, all that stuff. It's great. He sold out his hometown city. He sold them out. I think, but he can't win. He can't get over the hump. He's like Peyton Manning somewhat.
Well,
except Peyton
has
eventually
got his
title
for it.
Exactly.
Peyton eventually did it, and I think LeBron's going to do it too.
I think LeBron's going to be he's going to be a cancer for that team. I really think that Dwayne Wade would have been better on his own, and picking up someone like say Amari Stoudemire, just to throw out there as far as